Penny, are you ready for the interview? What would you like the world to know about you?
About me or Tourette's?
Let's start with you.
Well, I really like playing keyboard. I'm in a band with my sister. She's the lead singer. Yeah, it's pretty fun. It helps.
What does it help with?
It helps me manage my anxiety and tics. Like, whenever I'm playing piano, my tics will go down. Or, like, if I'm really stressed, I'll play piano, and usually they won't interfere.
How would you describe Tourette syndrome to somebody who has no experience with it?
Is this a person who knows, like, some medical terms?
Yes.
Okay. Tourette syndrome is a neurological disorder that makes the inflicted person do or say certain things that they cannot control. And these things are called tics. There's motor and vocal tics. Vocal tics are sounds, and motor tics are movements. Like that. Which make it very annoying to life sometimes. It's as if people are more awkward around me because I have Tourette's and they don't want to overstep and say the wrong thing, which I get. That's fair. But yeah, it's just nice to treat people like normal people.
How old are you, Penny?
13.
When did you first start to realize that you were experiencing Tourette's?
8?
What is it like for you if you're in public and you have a vocal tic where you curse?
Usually a lot of people look at me. I don't go... people will give me odd looks, or they'll shuffle their children away. A lot of people kind of act like Tourette's is some disease that you'll catch, which is not true. Tourette's is sometimes hereditary. We need to learn more about it to know all about it, but you can't catch Tourette's. That's impossible. And so that's a silly fear that some people have.
Is Tourette's a painful thing to live with?
It is. For some people it might not be, but Tourette's is different with every single person that has Tourette's. There's no one with Tourette's who's exactly the same, and that's the same for a lot of people, but it's never the same. It's always different. Some of my tics are like that. There it is. Whenever I think about the tic, it's more likely to happen. It's a tic where I uppercut myself in the face. Like that, but it's usually more violent. And then there's one where if I'm against a wall, my head will bang itself back into the wall, so I'll have to move somewhere else. There's a lot of physical pain that can happen with it, and then there's headphones. There's tics that strain my neck really badly. So I had really, really bad headaches in 5th grade for a very long time. It was almost migraine level, but not quite. And it was because my brain it's literally shaking my brain around, and my neck is always sore and tense. And so I have an ice pack in the freezer that I can wear.
What does a tic feel like?
It depends on the tic. Before the tic happens or during?
Let's start with before.
So there's something called a premonitory urge, where basically, right before my head nodding tic, I have to move my head up and down and then sideways and up and down. It's this band of pressure around my head that doesn't go away until I do the tic. And it's not an OCD urge. It's more it's warning me hey, this is going to happen, whether you like it or not. And I can hold off my tics for a little bit, but then they get really bad once I stop doing that. Yeah.
Penny, tell me about your siblings.
Juliet's my best friend, and Augustine is also my other best friend. We're besties like that. And, I don't know, we all like sharks. But they're very kind to me. They accept my Tourette's, and we don't talk about it too much. I mean, if they want to talk about it, hey, is that a new tic you have? Or, I'm going to be hey, this is a new tic I have. I'm really sorry. My tics like to hit Augie in particular. I don't know why. I'm sorry. But, stop saying sorry. Okay. It just happens a lot, and then Augie gets mad at me for saying sorry, it's fair. I should stop doing that. But yeah, I love my siblings. They're great.
Why do you not want Penny to say sorry?
It's not really her fault. I feel like that's the main thing that we've established about it. So Because what am I supposed to do? Be mad at her? How dare you do that to me? How dare you make that cognitive decision? Yeah.
We have fun here.
I mean, it's just, not helpful to her. And if I do it now, it saves the work of her later or something.
I don't feel like I have Tourette's when I'm around them. I mean, I know I have Tourette's. It's this great big part of me, but I don't feel like I have to like mask at all when I'm around them, it's really nice.
When you do feel like you have to mask, does it make things worse?
It does. It's like I'm pretending to be a person I'm not.
Does Tourette's impact your social life?
Very much it does. I don't talk to a lot of. I have one friend with Tourette's. They're really nice. But they live all the way over in Illinois, so I don't get to talk to them very much. But it's kind of hard to find people who see me as more than just Tourette's. Because I'm me. I crochet. I love to play piano. I love to sing. I love to do this and that. I love Stardew Valley. And overalls are my personality. But really, it does affect it, yes, because I can't have very many friends who like there are a couple kids in my class who aren't allowed to hear swears, and I guess it's just like too bad for them, because I can't control it, and so we had to have a chat about that. But some people won't talk to me because of it, but I have some pretty good friends.
Juliet, from the outside, how would you say Tourette syndrome impacts Penny?
I mean, it's obviously not just the tics. It's a lot of like a mental struggle for her. I mean, every single day she deals with anxiety. I think that's one of the hardest parts. I mean, OCD, I'm sure you talked about, she'll do certain things or like tap a door a certain time. Like she has just a bunch all around the house.
Everywhere.
That she does all the time. But I mean, she obviously has therapy for that. But the one thing about Tourette's I know is that it'll like come worse at some months or some weeks or sometimes even years. So it's like it really depends as to how much it affects her. But it's pretty tough.
Are there situations where your tics heighten?
Yeah, like if I'm feeling more negative feeling really strongly, like if I'm really angry or really sad or really stressed or quite overwhelmed or overstimulated, my tics get a lot worse because, they get a lot worse. And so I have techniques for that, of course, like focusing on something, crocheting, or like doing a safe hobby or activity. At school, I've tried my best to make it a place where my tics are less. Like I have this thing I call an emergency overstimulation kit. Basically, it could be different for everyone, but for me, it has like a stress ball, a juice box, 2 or 3 fruit snacks, maybe 4, and a safe little activity for me to do. Anyway, something to distract me, and that's if I have a tic attack. Do you know what that is?
What is a tic attack?
A tic attack is a series of tics a really bad series of tics that I obviously can't control. That could last from 3 minutes to 3 hours, and sometimes it's days, but I've never had that happen to me. It's very, very rare to be that long.
Tell me about how the sensory-friendly headphones help you.
I'm more sensitive to sound, so it hurts more when there's a really loud noise, like a fire drill at school. I thought I was dying for like 3 seconds, but it was fine. It was particularly loud. It really spooked me, and all the other kids in my class were like, it's fine. So these headphones, which are actually currently broken, I'm getting my new pair on Monday, which I'm so excited. But they don't turn on, but they do mute noise a good amount when I have them on. Kind of like earmuffs, but a little bit better because they're all over the ear. They usually do noise canceling, but again, they're broken.
When you notice that Penny is struggling more with her tics, do you treat her any different? Do you provide any type of accommodation?
I mean, I try not to bring it up. Just as a general rule, we don't talk about it because it only makes it worse. I mean, sometimes I'll do favors for her, stuff like that, but I don't really have a great go-to thing for what I'm supposed to do. Yeah.
Usually for me, I mean, there were some times where she would pick up like a new tick, or she would just like, she wouldn't stop for at least an hour. So that's when I was like, okay, when you do something, usually she has this like ice pack that she can like, it goes around her back and like kind of her chest. So usually I'll just give it to her. I don't like to say anything to like put it to attention or anything like that. Like I said, like Augie said, we don't really talk about it because then it'll just make her think about it more, and it's just very instant. And especially when she has a new tick, we can't talk about it at all. Otherwise, it could develop more.
What grade are you in?
8.
What's it like being in the 8th grade these days?
It's about the same. Not about the same. All of the boys are inappropriate, and all of the girls are like hee hee ha ha. And then I'm just there, chilling.
Tell me about your mom's role in your life.
My mom is very important to me. I don't really talk to my dad anymore, which I don't want to. I love my mom. She's great. She supports me through all of my struggles, Tourette's or not.
How would you describe Penny to somebody who doesn't know her yet?
Oh, Penny is delightful, and she's brilliant and funny and smart, and there's just nobody like Penny.
When did you first start to see symptoms of Tourette's?
So I think that Penny noticed before I did, but the first symptom I saw in Penny was a head nodding tic, I think in probably like 5th grade. Maybe she was
say
10. 4th or 5th grade. And I didn't say anything, I didn't mention it, we didn't talk about it, I just kind of observed. And I reached out to a friend of mine who has Tourette syndrome, and I was like, what do I do? And he said, just watch it. Just watch it, because that's what the doctor's going to ask. If you do take her to a doctor, they're going to want to know how long the tic lasted, what kind of tics they are, the frequency of them. And so that's what I did. And he said, just wait a year and then go see a doctor unless something comes up in which it's impeding her life. And probably like 8 months later, she was really struggling in school. And because of the pain from the tics, she was having headaches, she wasn't able to focus in math. And so that's when I took her to a neurologist and just started the journey from there.
My first tic was actually a really long vocal tic of me just saying like, yeah, okay, fun, cool. It's something like that. I don't do it anymore because tics can wax and wane over time. They can go away, they can get worse, they can get better. Usually tics get better with age, but so far that has not been the case for me, but we'll see because I'm only 13. Anyway, 4th grade, I started ticking, and my mom was like, oh, cool, that looks like Tourette's. And then a year later, I got diagnosed with a motor tic disorder, which is basically Tourette's light, as the kids would say. For Tourette's, you need to have 2 motor tics and 1 vocal tic, or 2 motor tics and 1 vocal tic, I'm pretty sure, or the other way around. To have actually have Tourette's, and 2 documented ones. So I had a motor tic disorder for a while because I didn't have that second vocal tic or whatever it was. And then in the next appointment with my neurologist, they very slyly put it in there oh yeah, she has Tourette's also, by the way.
Have you tried any therapies?
Yeah, CBIT therapy, cognitive behavioral intervention for tics. Did it. Basically, they teach me what is called a competing response for when I feel what is called the premonitory urge. Like I talked about earlier, the premonitory urge is for my head, it's this band of really tight pressure that doesn't go away until the tic happens. And it's warning me. It's like, hey, dude, you're going to tic. And I'm like, okay, dude. But once I feel that urge, I can do the competing response, which we have to come up with. It has to be less noticeable than the tic. It has to be able to be held for 60 seconds, and I forget the third criteria, but it's something along those lines. Anyway, the one for the head nodding is I have to push my chin to my chest so that I can't swing my head down, and it does not satisfy the urge. And it doesn't satisfy the urge. That's the third one. And I think that's one of the most important parts. But, yeah, you hold that for 60 seconds, and then you check, is the urge still there? Yes? Keep doing it. No? You're fine. But for that kind of therapy, you don't substitute tics with other tics. You just make it not happen by like physically limiting it. Like I have a tic where my arm goes out like that. I just have to hold my arms like this, and it can't, so it doesn't satisfy the urge.
Do you like this therapy?
No, I hate it. But I would recommend anyone with Tourette's to have this therapy if they have access to it, because it really helps.
Have you seen a difference in her tics since she started?
I see her doing her competing responses, and I have to help her remember to do them. I think there's a misconception that they're just going to go away or they're going to be able to control them all the time. That's definitely not the case. But if she's in a situation where she really does need to stop the head nodding or stop the arm or whatever because she's in a lot of pain or, whatever the case may be, she has tools to help mitigate those symptoms and those tics. But I think it's super helpful. I've seen a change. But the thing about Tourette's is it's constantly changing. And not only are her tics constantly changing, but her co-occurring conditions are also changing. Sometimes her OCD is worse than her tics and her anxiety. Sometimes the anxiety is worse. Sometimes the tics are worse. So we just kind of have to ride the wave.
Are there any symptoms of Tourette's that aren't as apparent, maybe more internal?
Well, there are co-occurring conditions like ADHD, OCD, anxiety, depression. They all kind of run in the same marathon, stream, river, something like that. They all kind of flow together. Like, I have a couple of those. It's not like someone with ADHD is guaranteed Tourette's, obviously, and it's not like someone with Tourette's is guaranteed ADHD, but someone with Tourette's is more likely to have ADHD or anxiety or OCD, stuff like that. So that's some of the less apparent stuff. And again, some of the tics, like, you can't even see some tics I'm doing, like I'll flex a certain muscle or I'll exhale a certain way or hold my breath or like I'll fuzz my eyes and no one can even tell. But yeah, it's there are a couple things like that.
Do you consider Tourette's to be a disability?
Yeah, it 100% is. I mean, not only legally by the CDC is it a disability, but I mean, I am disabled. I'm not able to do things that someone without a disability could do. I can't babysit. I can't be around really little kids. I can't. If I taught, it would have to be college students or high school students, which I'd really love to teach, but it's going to be a struggle. I can't, like swimming is a little bit of a challenge for me. I can't exercise very well. I can't eat very well either. Like sometimes you'll notice like a stain on the floor that I haven't cleaned up yet. It's because my tics like that, while I'm holding my spoon, it'll just fly, which generally we don't sit directly to the right of the penny, so we don't get food stains. But we deal with it, and it's a disability for sure, because not all disabilities are visible. This one isn't, but yeah, it is.
Would you agree?
Definitely, yeah. Not only, like she said, it's ADA recognized as a disability, but there are just so many things that keep her from doing the just normal everyday activities that kids who don't have a disability can do. She has trouble getting homework done because her OCD is making her type certain things and then delete certain things while she's trying to type an assignment, or it's slowing her down when she's trying to do repetitive assignments. So there are just a lot of things that either take her longer or she just can't do, or it's just really hard for her to do compared to the kids who don't have a disability or Tourette syndrome.
Do you feel different than other people?
Yeah, I do.
How so?
Well, I'm disabled, even though it's not like visible. I mean, it is visible, but it's not a visible disability. Not all disabilities are visible. It's a mental thing. I don't know. I'm always in this different headspace than other people, and I don't feel like that when I'm around my friend who has Tourette's. They're really nice. I don't even think about having Tourette's when I'm with them because I feel normal again, whatever normal is.
Now that you know a lot more about Tourette's than you did a decade ago, is it what you thought it was?
Yes and no. There's a lot more to it than you see. Obviously, even having a friend who has Tourette syndrome as an adult, I didn't know everything. Like I knew about the pain he would go through because of his tics, and I knew about the stigmas in public that he had to deal with. I didn't realize how invasive the OCD can be and how bad the anxiety can be. It's like I think Penny was saying they describe it as like an iceberg. Like you only see a little bit of it, and then under the water there's so much more that you just don't realize that she has to deal with on every minute. She's dealing with things that I don't even see, and so it's a lot different.
Can having Tourette's be physically exhausting?
It can be very, very physically exhausting. Like, there's this concept of spoons. Have you heard of that before?
Yes, but explain it for those who haven't.
So, a disabled person, and it can go for like mentally ill people or just normal people. I mean, like people without mental illnesses or disability disorders. Blah, blah. Anyway, let's say at the start of the day I have 50 spoons. It's like a social battery, kind of. Going to school takes 30, and then doing homework is going to take 15, and then doing my chores is going to take 10, and before you know it, I'm all out of spoons. But it's like, I'll say, hey mom, I don't have enough spoons to do this right now, and she'll be like, okay, how can we get you more spoons? And sometimes I'll be like, I don't know, or sometimes I'll be like, let's watch The Good Place, one of my favorite shows, or Heartstopper. Because I've watched those shows both like a million times, and I know what's going to happen, so it doesn't stress me out. So that can help me like get back up to energy, and that like it can be really exhausting. Like it'll take all my spoons away if I have a tic attack. It's a bad day.
What do you think others can do to be more inclusive of Penny and others with Tourette's?
So there's, I think one of the hardest things about being in public, or even around friends or family who really don't know much about it, is what the general public thinks they know about Tourette syndrome. They think it's funny, they think it's a joke, they think that all people with Tourette syndrome curse a lot. I think that's the biggest thing is just forget and erase the bad things that you've learned.
Literally everything.
And just ignore the tics, first of all, and just treat her like you would anyone else, and educate yourself, or ask her. She's the biggest advocate, and she's the best educator there is, because she knows more about it than anyone. So if you want to know more about it, ask, but definitely just, treat her like you would any of my other kids.
When somebody finishes watching this video, what do you hope they remember most from it?
I hope that they remember to treat people with Tourette's like normal people. That's my biggest thing, usually.
How can they do that?
Well, if someone has tics in public, if you don't want to talk about it, then that's fine. Don't stare. Don't laugh. That's horrible. A lot of people laugh at me, but I don't really see it anymore. I mean, usually I feel bad for the people who are with me because they're not used to it. Not like my family. They get it, but we're all human, and it's just my brain works a little differently than yours, and that's okay. Just treat me how you would treat anyone.